Yeah. Welcome in, beautiful souls. Welcome in. We are on Friday, June 19th. Everybody out there who is celebrating Juneteenth, who is celebrating the summer solstice, who is celebrating probably not this part, but will eventually Chiron moving into Taurus, doing a little dippy do today. So energies are kind of, oh, my neck, are all over and interesting. Summer solstice energy, what's exciting about that is kind of like things coming to light, things getting a little brighter, more. I don't know. For me, I look at it as being like more present, success, fun, childlike energy, um, which I think is going to be wonderful. But there's always the shadow aspects of the ego that can also be seen with this energy. But with the Chiron in Taurus happening, so this kind of energy, I was born in 84. So anybody who's watching or listening in, this hasn't happened in a very, very long time. So it's kind of a shift from past survival patterns to security learning. So Chiron being the wounded healer, which we talk about a lot on this show, but it being in Taurus points to pain around worth and steadiness. It calls for repair through grounded, realistic forms of safety. I also like to look at it as being more consistent in the stability that you're building rather than just being like, hey, these four walls are up and that's it. Like, okay, these four walls are up, but what kind of insulation do we have? What kind of foundation do we have underneath it? Really looking more at the details of this structure, kind of how I'm kind of channeling this energy right now as we're talking. Another collective focus around money and sufficiency and values, which Taurus very much has to do with, and the body. Taurus governs resources, comfort, and what we value. For me, it ends up hitting in my chart in the house of family and that kind of stability. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see how this is going to play out. But I am looking forward to Chiron getting out of Aries. I've got my Black Moon Lilith there, so it's been a lot on the sense of self and identity, and the wound around what that looked like for you. So I'm kind of liking this shift into more of the grounded, stable, but knowing that if Chiron's doing this shift, what's unstable, what's unsafe, what's unsecure, because that's going to be what gets brought to the surface with this energy coming in, and it stays for a while. So it's not like it's a quick dip in and out. I don't know exactly because honestly, this is me trying to jump off the blip, how long it's been in Aries. So because it's going to be in Taurus for a while, that I'll get back to. Then we also have there's friction when it comes to being more honest, but also more compassionate. So there's going to be more friction because there's going to be a need for a lot of healing, but with the healing, it's not going to be soft at first. Is kind of what I have over in my notes too. It's going to be bringing up old insecurities to the surface so they can be integrated, refined, and released. So we talk a lot about all kinds of different things, but with this energy, when it comes to the wounded healer, just be open minded that your values, your money, your stability, your comfort, your resources, those are kind of the impact. Because if you guys recall too, real quick before I get too excited, because I get excited when we talk about these energies, is the Uranus has been in Taurus for a long time, right? So Uranus really did a complete rebellion and look at all of those kinds of resources. Because it was because of what it was just transiting in, and then it's now moving into Gemini out of Taurus, right? So now when we think about Chiron moving into Taurus, we're looking at the wounds around that. Does that make sense? So Uranus was more of the disruptor, the rebellion who just kind of came in. And then with Chiron now shifting into Taurus, it's doing it more into wound way of sense of self, and that foundation, that stability, that safety. Um, yeah. So that's kind of my little energy forecast. I wish somebody would intro me with that. But now I will shine it on over to you ladies and what we're talking about today.
So I can intro you next time, but I you have no say on the music that I choose.
There's only one stipulation.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
I'm not getting in the middle of a divorce right now. Okay.
No,
So,
no,
like, I didn't see that one coming.
no,
You know who I'm talking about, JR, right? We're talking about JR, me and
no,
you? Yeah. That's
no,
the only thing. You can't play JR, that's it.
no. I said that you can't have a say in it, so I'm not listening. Okay, so Nicole,
Boundaries.
thanks for the energy forecast. Appreciate that. You always bring some insight to, I think, all of us because we don't all comprehend or understand all of the astrology that's linked to the universe and our souls. So, really appreciate that. But today we really, we want to talk about the summer solstice and how you can reclaim that inner light. And I think everybody knows solstice is the longest day of the year. And that's the moment when the sun lingers just a little longer, as if reminding us that illumination is our birthright. The solstice is not just an astronomical event. I found this interesting. It's an archetype. I have to look into that a little more, Nicole. But do you know what archetype it would fall under? Because it's a mirror and a threshold.
Ooh, as soon as you said threshold, I thought Sedna. When you popped that in, I was like, I don't know. You know what? Let me find out.
Yeah, I'm curious because we've talked a little bit about the archetypes and I just thought, oh, I never really related the solstice to an archetype.
I
Um,
love that.
but it asks a simple but confronting question. Where have you dimmed your own light and why? Because somewhere along the way, many of us learn to shrink our brilliance to make others comfortable. So again, all in line in the stuff we've been talking about over the last couple weeks is not allowing ourselves to shrink into our environments or to lead from a fear-based emotion because that's where we feel most comfortable. Um, we learn to soften our voice, to dilute our truth, or truck away the parts of ourselves that felt too much. When you feel like you're too much, your light can get dimmed on your brightness, your authenticity, and your honesty. So when the solstice arrives each year to interrupt that pattern, it reminds us that expansion is natural and that radiance is cyclical, that your inner light is not a performance, it's an actual return. So maybe in that year after the last solstice, things have felt kind of upside down, things have moved fast, things are changing. This is where you're getting that opportunity now to kind of ground yourself back to a different space in which maybe you felt most comfortable, you felt most successful, it felt most right for yourself. Because your inner light is not a performance, it truly is a return to who you are.
Absolutely. When you were talking, because I was looking off to the side, which I was, because I was trying to think of like a female archetype and stuff like that. But what actually came through was just the sun as
Yeah,
the archetype of it all.
for
And
sure.
usually, a lot of times, the sun could be looked at more from the masculine lens. Um, of and it's usually around like self and passion. If you think about Leo season, they royalty with the Leos when we're going to that regard. But when you say the longest day of the sun being out, and it depends on where you're at in the hemisphere, like because it could be also be coming into where you guys are coming into your colder times, your winter months. So with where it depends on where you're at in the world. So I would say with that shift on a channel energetic level of what's kind of coming through is shine what is being shined light upon right now in your life.
Right, the
um
illumination, right? Going back
mhm.
to that illumination, um, it's not perfect, but it's about your presence. It's about how you're showing up in that moment and how you're shining that light. It's I think what I was saying earlier. So I'm glad you made that connection.
Yeah, it's more mindfulness, right? And in our presence, being more presenting ourselves as more mindful rather than performative, which we've talked about many times too. Because with the sun, there can be performance
Hmm.
based when it comes to this energy as well. And since we're with that Chiron mix in the Taurus, there's kind of that kind of where's the depth, the surface stuff. You know what I mean. So it's kind of like when you're saying that light, it's really shining. heavily in those different areas of your life, and in the areas could be more in line with it being your sense of self, resources, stability, safety being a big one. And when we're talking about this, I think it's kind of important because safety a lot of times could be like, yeah, I'm safe. I'm safe in my house right now. Nobody's hitting me, this, that, and the other. And it's not how are you emotionally feeling safe?
It's
It
psychological and
mentally.
emotional.
Mhm. That's what I was just gonna say too, because the mental health game is huge right now, and I will probably talk about this in everything that we talk about moving forward because of how important it is to really hone in on mental health and what's healthy to you, and being honest about what's not with yourself. And this is kind of shining a light on that. And with us turning into Cancer season 2, we're now making the shift from Gemini to Cancer season. Mother wound might be kind of a theme that kind of comes up, and that could look like a sense of self, worth. What we talked about yesterday. Who am I when nobody sees what I do? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing in my life when nobody's watching?
And it's
And kind
also
of,
about understanding the truth that you've been whispering, but you're holding on to because you're afraid to say it out loud. So this is your opportunity as you're showing up and as you're returning to who you are or where, from where you've been. This allows you to speak that truth out loud.
the energies are giving more of a supportive space for it too right now through community and like-minded conversations and individuals and stuff. So
Yep.
because it wants to celebrate, it wants to feel safe being visible, you know. Steph, you're a little grainy, so I can't tell. How do you feel about what's your take on the situation?
So, well, yeah, the other day I said I was interested in, I couldn't wait for this, this topic and this conversation just because being so new in like the energies and everything, I'm really, really curious as to see how this plays out for me. And I also curious for some other people that I'm close with, just with everything that's happened in the last month or so. And a lot of me and a lot of other people in general are like, I'm getting away from this performance and walking on eggshells and being there for others and now focusing more on who am I really, what do I, what's going to make me happy, what's my purpose. So I really plan on being outside a lot today with this long day and just grounding myself, to just prepare myself for what's to come. Um, so yeah, I think I'm going to do a lot of looking into all of that today too, just like how the energies are. I was going to look where my Chiron is, but I don't have my book sitting right here. So
It's a lot of information to remember too, right? But we've got like I'm excited about like the Jupiter Leo transit. Like there's a lot of different transits happening right now that from a psychological lens is very, very intriguing. I'm not gonna lie, it's very intriguing. Because when you see the light of it, there's always a shadow aspects. I get that. But when we can kind of focus on the exciting parts of what's going on with these energies, when the darker aspects kind of show themselves, we almost feel more held to handle it. Does that make sense? Like whatever's kind of coming up, because there's really
yeah,
an energy happening around like say we were always the safe container for people. Now we're kind of in a place of like, what do you guys got for me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like pulling it more back and being more of that safe container for ourselves. And kind of in that way, what it's doing is kind of opening up a doorway for others who may not have been, or giving them opportunities for that reflection. And am I making like are you guys visually understanding how I'm trying to explain
Yeah.
what I'm
In
saying?
my mind, it's like what Stephanie said a moment ago is like we're new to learning a lot of these energies and different astrological conversations that you've been having. But at the end of the day, I think I'm able to remain grounded and have a conversation with somebody and without using words that they don't understand to try to help them realize it's okay to come back. Like shine your light, come back, tell your story without anybody feeling like they're being judged or for any kind of fear. And I think when we talk about today being the day to have those conversations and that reflection and negotiating with whomever the archetypes or whomever we're negotiating with, Nicole, I think it's important for us to just try to let people know it's okay that you feel this way.
Yeah, feel whatever it is to feel. Yeah.
Right. And let me tell you why
energies are going to test you. Oh man, energies are going to test you. I don't know about none of y'all, but this morning was like I woke up with a doom song on. I was like, oh, here we go. Actually, the song was, if you guys want to know, and the song, they go, way down you go, oh, you know that song?
No.
It's how it plays. That's how my message came. And I know when I hear that, what is that? To me, what it signals is okay, we're going to be going doing some shadow work today. Or we're going to be jumping into some bullshit. Not bullshit, but waters that could be a little uneasy and uncomfortable. And that's okay if that's coming up, because these, again, whether you guys are just learning about astrology, I'm forever evolving and learning in new ways about astrology myself, because there's a lot to it. But really just feeling into your body. What are you feeling like today? Checking in with yourself, like we talk a lot. And even in this moment, like if you're listening, like taking a second and kind of checking in and being like, what is my most repeated thought today playing on in my mind? And then just kind of see, what is it making me feel like in my body? Or is it productive? Is it a balanced thought? Like this is very important in this time to constantly be checking in with yourself, coming back to self, being mindful on what you're taking in, because the side of it that I get a little wary from, because I love my people close to me and stuff, is seeing that there are challenges that are coming up. There is also like a level of toxic masculinity that is really getting a light shined on right now, in regards to anger and how that expresses itself, in regards to emotions and how it's been suppressed within oneself, and kind of like trauma's kind of leading the way. And this is something that I'm seeing individually and collectively, and it's kind of one of those things that holding space is kind of important, because it is a shock and it's a ripple, as how I kind of been energetically seeing it. It's kind of a ripple and effects that went through all of the masculine consciousness. And it's kind of in that ripple effect is kind of shaking up stuff that hasn't been stirred for a long time. And there's going to be a shock moment. So there's going to definitely be a rise in helping with that. A lot of masculines seeking, whether it's for themselves or talking more about it. But for many, it's going to be a shock. It's going to be a really big shock, because I'm still seeing it unfolding. I even seen it unfolding even in the public eye. You're going to start seeing relationships that just come to a close, or you're going to start seeing it's been out there, private clubs that have been going on. Like there's a lot of things that are coming to be exposed for people that people weren't ready for.
I think I don't know what word you used, because I have my brain fog. It really plays a big role in my life. But when you were talking about, I'm just going to use the word reflecting. I think there's journaling prompts too that would be very helpful for people in this kind of a transition. I know we talk about journaling a lot, but maybe people just don't know where to start. So a couple things that might be important to somebody is like, what is the brightest part of me that I've been dimming, and why? what part of me feels ready to step forward, even if I don't feel like I'm ready, right? We remove that fear-based feeling and we move with our intuition. What does being fully seen mean to me right now? People feel like they can't be seen, they're not heard. What does that feel like? And how do we shed light on that? How do I want to show up for myself during this next season of life? These are all things that are, going to help somebody embrace maybe some insecurities, limited beliefs, overshadow some egos, just to help kind of frame their next steps and where they're headed as an individual. What would I change if I trusted my inner light more than my inner doubt? I love that one. That challenges you on a couple different dimensions, right?
Mm-hmm. Helps you kind of find balance
Right.
between it, because that's really inevitably, like, you don't ever want to just say, like, challenge a negative thought and be like, nope, I'm not even going to listen to that. I'm just going to throw that away, this, that, and the other. And then just be like, oh my God, love and light. No,
Right.
challenge the thought that you're having and find a balanced thought. Don't go so extreme, but find it in the middle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then I popped some questions down in the public chat too, that you guys can reflect on, look to, kind of in regard to a couple things that Tina was saying too. And then the question about toxic masculinity, and be mindful too, guys. This doesn't mean male, female. This means energy, masculine energy, because we all can very well have moments. That's why I asked it in such a open way like I did, is how toxic masculinity shown up for you, because with what we're talking about today and shining that light and it being the longest day of the year, and we'll say like I'm going to say the brightest day of the year where I'm at. So I'm excited to get out in nature. But there's an importance in the grounding, because what is happening at the same time, if we're not grounding, is that you'll see a lot of chaos and friction and toxicity possibly, because again, that light is shining so bright on things, and that's figuratively as well as literally in that sense. And toxic masculinity could just be more of what are you speaking out? What is it like? How is your speech coming out? Is it hateful? Is it fearful? Is it hurtful? Or is it helpful, uplifting, joyful? That's a very quick example of what that could look like, or to an extent of I kind of like that. I like that as an example.
Yeah. I think also some of us have a really good tendency of feeding off of others' energy. And I noticed the last week or so, I have had a little bit of anxiety creep up without really knowing where it's coming from. But then being able to sit back when I'm in, whether it's outside, I'm a water sign. So being in my pools where I do my grounding, it just gives me the time to like think. But it's almost a time where I start to realize I am having this anxious feeling and I don't understand why. And then I start to realize it's not my energy. It's somebody else's energy coming in from somewhere else, that it's multiple people's energy that's coming in, and I'm somehow connected to it and I'm feeling it, right? And that took me a while to understand, because I would say to people, I don't know why I had anxiety today. Now I do. Now I understand that it's not mine that I'm carrying. I am feeding off of somebody else's energy right now.
You're knowing the difference between what's yours and what's not. And that's a really big intuitive step too in intuitive development, is knowing is this mine or is this somebody else's?
Right.
Because a lot of the times we can confuse the two and take it on as our own, and then our mental chatter follows. So
right.
I agree. Steph, what's your take before? Because I want to show something on these cards that I just pulled when Tina was talking. Her mom told me to pull these cards, so I did.
Oh, great.
No, it's very interesting on what we're talking about.
No, I totally agree with Tina. I pick up other people's energies, anxiety, anger, happiness. So I don't know, I'm just one of those people that just naturally just gravitate to what the mood in the room is. And so that's one of the things that I'm working on is now recognizing, is that my anger, is that my anxiety, you know, and trying to pull away from that and letting go of those energies that aren't mine to hold on to.
And a quick thing that you could say too, energy wise, is I call my energy back to me from all times and planes of existence. Something real quick like that is definitely a way to kind of cut something. I have to do that on the regular too. Even for myself,
Sigh.
because I'll take on the
Get out of
energy
there.
myself. So two
Get
cards
out
that
of
kind
there.
of came up for anybody that's watching. I love this. It was 23 and 24, which is hilarious because I was shuffling the deck. And it was Night Wind was the first one, which I really, really love. For anybody that's seeing, it's kind of a tree swaying in the dark night. And it says facing fear, subconscious release, and healing. And then the other one, which I thought was beautiful because we said it depends on if you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere, was followed by the sun. So it was so on par, and it's the 24th card. So I found it so interesting that anybody that's able to see, there's a dark card and there's a light card, right? So balance in between having going through into the darkness to find the healing and releasing, facing the fears, not ignoring it, but going through it. But then with the sun card being the eternal love, the happiness, the harmony, the fulfillment. So it's not showing one over the other, but it's showing how they cohabitate together. And I just thought it was so interesting because it was so in alignment with what we were just talking about. And again, with intuition, intuitive development and trying to like tap further into it, cards are a great way to do that. They really are a layered way of connecting, because then the bottom of the deck card was like the loss, which is grief, sadness, resurrection. I mean, that's such a Scorpio card too.
So my mother told you to where's my mother?
I got a flash of your mother's face. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that was signaling, and she told me to do the cards. But like, it's not like
It's
I don't
not
know
her
how-
message. Like she wanted you to pull the card to share the message, but it wasn't like she came.
Yeah, she gave me the nudge to pull my deck out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But the message was cool on how it came out. Because it's as above, so below, right? I mean, if you think about it, and there was a thing that I just read or heard about, and I thought it was magnificent. And I'll make it quick because I thought it was very interesting. But it talked about a tree, and it talked about how a tree, when it's first grown, how it has to go all the way down for the roots into the darkness, down deep into the soil, and just trust. And really
Except
get
for the one that's growing out of your ceiling.
No, it turned out it was a fucking web, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a web. So the way that it hung or something, he ended up figuring it out. I was like, he took away the symbolism. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. So shit. Now where were we? Because the tree.
Roots.
So we're talking about the roots. Yep, we're talking about the roots and trusting in roots. They're gonna find its way to water no matter what. And it's talking about how, to me, the symbolism I was getting from it was how for us, right? How we really got to be okay with going into the darkest depths and trusting without fear that we will connect to what we need to connect to. Because then what happens is that ends up not going away, but it ends up becoming a part of our root system that grows out of the earth. Does that make sense? Into the physical form, into the light. And the leaves that shed are the parts of us that need to shed, the parts of us that we will grieve, the parts of us that will die along the way. But we will continue to keep growing. Oh, this is getting channeled now. It'll keep continuing to grow and find its way. That's kind of the systems in which we're starting to really embark on right now, because there's this saying about, they say when you go out into the wild not to feed the animals because they won't know how to take care of themselves. People are getting a real big realization of, oh my God, is that what happened to us? We got provided the food, the shelter, the water, even though we had to pay for all. It came into a place of paying for it all. But what happened is the sickness, the illnesses, everything that kind of came along with it. So what I'm getting back into the root of this tree is that everybody's kind of coming back in to their root system. And you have to be able to go down into the darkest depths and water that in order for you to grow and sprout in a way that is nourishing to you, that is safe for you, that has the boundaries. That we can hang whatever we want from that tree system. whatever that looks like to you. So yeah, I just wanted to apparently give that download maybe that came through. That's what I'm gonna say. It was a download because it definitely was like cool how it came through.
I really like that analogy.
I thought it was really profound. Like even as it was coming through, because I saw it just as the roots when I saw a thing, but how far it ended up expanding in my mind, I was like, wow, like it's true. And we're very much like think of our veins and everything else, we're very much the comparison of what a tree is like, if you think about it.
Well,
Mhm.
it also aligns
When
with
I'm outside grounding myself, I think of like, sorry, I think of like roots growing out of the bottom of my feet into the ground,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm trying to ground myself. So, yeah.
All
I
the
just
time.
float.
Well,
Takes
floating
no
in the water of
energy at all.
emotion's good, but like when you're doing grounding, if you get your feet especially bare on the ground and you visualize like what I'll visualize golden roots going deep into Earth Mother and then coming back up and then coming through me and then connecting me to my light, my higher self, my connection to source, my God consciousness, whatever that looks like to you. So then that way you're anchoring yourself into Earth Mother as well as connecting yourself to your soul spirit. Ooh, soul spirit. I like that. I've never said that one before. Soul spirit. Huh. Look at that. Guys, I'm a channel. I don't know what to call myself anymore, but this is just who I am as a person. It comes through the way that it does, and it comes through at its own time.
I don't think you need to call it anything, Nicole.
It's just a Nicole.
It's
Oh,
just
there she goes, Nicoleing again.
no. I mean, it's just who you are. If people don't understand that, then they got a bigger problem.
Well, the word channel seemed like maybe it was a safer word to use lately, but I don't know. But you know what time it is? Wee wee. Stephanie's purposeful pause, 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 pause.
That seems so like out there for a pauseful moment. That's crazy.
It's because we're going out into the
Okay.
universe to find this soulful pause that you will have. Ooh, soulful pause. That's even cute too. What's with this soul stuff? I love it.
Ooh, I don't know. She's on a roll today. Okay. So, as the summer solstice approaches, the light stretches long enough to illuminate the places within you that you've kept dim. And in that glow, a question rises. What version of yourself are you finally ready to stop abandoning? Maybe it's the braver self, the one who speaks before shrinking, who trusts their instincts before asking for permission. Maybe it's the softer self, the one who feels deeply, cries easily, and loves without calculation. Maybe it's the creative self, the one who used to make things just because it felt good to be alive. Maybe it's the rested self, the one who doesn't earn their worth through exhaustion. Maybe it's the self who dreams bigger, the one you silenced because you feared disappointment more than the stagnation. The solstice reminds you that light is not something you chase, it's something you turn toward. And perhaps the version of you that you've done abandoning is the one who has been stop surviving long enough to remember you're meant to shine. This is the self who knows you don't have to earn your place, you don't have to apologize for your glow, you don't have to be dimmed to be loved. This season invites you to gather up the pieces of yourself you've scattered across years of self-doubt, caretaking, perfectionism, or fear, to call them home, to say, I see you now, I won't leave you again. Because reclaiming your inner light isn't about becoming someone new, it's about returning to the person you were before you learned to abandon yourself.
Love it.
I love how you brought the whole dim your light because I feel like for a long time and not even realizing it, like you try to shine your light to try to help people, but then you start to realize that the people who have a hard time having the light shined on areas of life that they're not ready to be exposed to consciously, they think, you start to kind of shrink back a little bit, dim a little bit more, dim a little bit more, dim a little bit more. And that could really be death to a people pleasing self in a good way, but can be hard because this season isn't asking. Yeah, I loved it. This season isn't asking you to perform. It's literally just asking you to be more than anything. Like, and what does that look like to you? What's that driving force? Next week we take our week off from the podcast, so that way we can rest, reset.
August.
No, no. So Tina's she's being silly. We will be back. We will be back for July. I think July 4th week we might pre-record our episodes and then just kind of put them out. Or maybe depending on how it goes, we might just replay some old episodes and put them back out. I don't know. We'll see. But I do know that for next week we are going to be taking the time off, and we also want to let you guys know, this is your permission slip to go offline as well. Soften your grip. We're moving into Cancer season. We just had a hell of a Gemini season that really sped up communication, changed the way that we communicate, who we communicate to. So our nervous system needs a second. Like, let yourself come home. You know what I'm saying? Choose nourishment over urgency. Try to find clarity over pressure. If it's starting to feel overwhelmed and very exciting, get yourself outside and ground. That's not the time to make a decision. And while you're grounding, journal, like Tina had brought up. Journaling is a great way to get out of your mind and into your heart. And in your heart's where you want to be, because that's kind of the lion energy, the Leo season, the Leo energy that really drives passion and self empowerment, like the creativity. So with that too, peace over performance. Even for us, as soon as me and my husband were saying, like every time we go out to the property, we always, and it's not an obligation, but we just realized we were really feeling obligated to host every time, make the food, do this and the other. And it's kind of like everybody that's coming out, you can cook for yourself. We can all share that space together. So I think there's also a kind of shift in where we're feeling our obligations and why, and kind of getting rid of and taking that obligation off of ourselves and being more mindful and present. um let's see, whatever you're carrying, release it gently and slowly. It's not a race to try to get your mental health in 100%. Know that the experience of the journey is what leads you to stronger mental health, not avoiding the harder aspects and the darker parts of it. And that your healing is not separate from your becoming. So, as you're becoming the best version of yourself, there are going to be things that are going to need to be acknowledged and uh, acknowledged throughout that time. It's all about with the new month that's going to be coming in. It's going to be about being restored and rooted in what is feeling right for you. So for next week, I just wanted to share, just kind of replenish, reset, let things fall into alignment and enjoy some creativity. Like, what's a fun creative outlet that gets your inner child going? Me and my husband might do a little glow rave party and surprise my son for his birthday because we're going to be out in the woods. Why not? I think it'd be fun as hell to like play some cool music and then just get some glow light stuff going. So feed your inner child. What is fun? What does that look like for you? Lighten up. Like this energy, the solstice is asking you, lighten up those areas that you get so hard on yourself with. It was a long spiel, but it felt good, so I ran with it.
Good. It was a very good spiel.
Any feedback to what I just shared would be wonderful.
Good. Glow lights are good.
Yeah, everything good. I said, the glow light is a good idea. All right, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. No, Nicole, I like how you said that during this time there's going to be some, not easy moments, like when you're reflecting and dealing with some of those shadows, those shadow aspects, and just having to face them and, admit them, because I know that I'm going to have some.
and honoring it too, giving yourself the grace that's used quite often in here too. Along the way, that there's no rush there. And a big one too, I've done it myself and I'm not a big fan, but stop comparing yourself to other people's journeys and where they're at. Put that bag
Mhm.
down. And I'm speaking that to like everybody, because I found myself where I can easily fall into that and then feeling like I'm not, where I'm needing to be. And in reality, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, as are all of you. Life unfolds on your time, not by anybody else's clock. Shit was
That's
made up
for
anyways. And with
That's for
that,
sure.
it's Tina's reflection time.
Wow. All right. I can't keep up with all that. So let's shake that out. Nicole brought us a lot of energy today.
It's a lot of downloads, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So take a breath, let your body settle, let your inner world rise to the surface. As you stand in the glow of this solstice energy, notice what feels warm within you, the ideas, the desires, the truths that have been waiting for light. You don't have to rush them. You don't have to force clarity, and you only have to acknowledge what's stirring. Like what's stirring in that pot. So ask yourself gently, what part of me is ready to step forward? What part of me is ready to be reclaimed? What part of me is ready to shine without apology? And we go back to just showing up, right? Just show up how you are. Let those questions soften you, let them guide you, and let them remind you that your inner light is not something you earn, it's something you remember. As you move through the rest of your day, may you carry this truth. Your light is not a disruption. Your light is simply a direction. And the world is brighter when you allow yourself to be fully seen. So shine that light. Can't tell if she's sleeping, meditating.
I was connecting.
You're connecting.
She's
I am who I am, Tina. No, I was connecting, definitely connecting. Because when you were saying the shining your light, that could be difficult for some people, especially if you're dealing with some guilt, shame, or fear. And I think when, shining that light is just a matter of releasing it, right? Because the shame, guilt, and fear can only live in here. So the more that we can let it out, whether that's creatively or in safe spaces, then I feel that naturally you will start to see that light shine a little bit more. But as more of that light shines, the more little things that it will shine upon. But don't be afraid of them.
And to your point, I mean, shining your light doesn't necessarily mean coming in and being like overpowering or coming in strong. It's just maybe when you walk into a room, you have a soft, welcoming smile, or you just give that feeling of connection and that you're a safe person. That's showing up
Love
big
that.
time for a lot of people, and that does not take a lot of energy.
Mm-mm. And it's such an easy thing to do. You're right. It makes a huge shift in people.
Yep.
Just being a little softer. Yep. All right, everybody. And do you ladies have anything you would like to close with before we finish today out?
I'm going to wish everybody a great Father's Day, a happy 4th of July, and happy Labor Day. And we'll see you in September.
Brian just said, T, I don't know what you're talking about. We're coming down on the 4th.
Oh, I better get ready for that.
That's what he just said out of nowhere. I'm like, the fuck did you just say? Okay. So, Steph, sorry, was there something that you wanted to close with since Tina's filled with foolery over there?
Just go
just
with
take
Steph.
today to get outside and ground yourself.
Yes. Happy summer solstice. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a holiday to celebrate, but really, I think, guys, at this point, celebrate yourself every day, in every opportunity, in every
Yep.
moment that life is actually showing up for you. Just have fun playing the game. We're in this shit. We might as well have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? You woke up today because your soul still has purpose on this planet. So go out there and live it as authentically true to you, and be creative, have fun. Yeah, go out, enjoy the sun. Be careful with the, never mind, I'm not even gonna do that. Yes, just live your life. Enjoy reset week. We will be back in July. And looking forward to some new topics that we will be talking about. And if this resonates with you, feel free to share with others or comment. Guys, we would love your comments. We'd love to have you involved in the conversation. But that's it. We're out. Love and light, beautiful souls.
Love and
See ya.
light.
See you in July.
Thank you for
August.
the reminder. Thank you for